It's been an extremely busy day with NHL Free Agent Frenzy 2023, but we have a few more signings to talk about, and we still have some trade rumors I want to look at as well. There's still some big name players that are still possibly on the move. We'll discuss what we know so far coming up next. So welcome back to another video here, Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we still have some more signings trickling in here on Free Agent Frenzy, and I have some trade rumors I want to take a look at as well, and update a few scenarios that are being monitored around the NHL. So for signings, we have a signing in Toronto. They've signed right-handed defenseman John Klingberg. This was a bit of a surprise. Not surprised Brad Treliving's kind of revamping or adding on the blue line. That's a common trait of his to build from the back end, but I am a little surprised it went for this method. But Klingberg gets a one-year deal at $4.15 million. So, of course, he's coming off another one-year deal. Bit of a pay cut for him. At one point, he had a 7-year deal on the books, or on the table, I should say, from the Dallas Stars before he left Dallas, and never took it. He kind of bet on himself, changed his agent, and it's kind of backfired ever since. But, I mean, he's still a pretty good defenseman in his own right. Obviously good puck mover, good skater, and offensively gifted, but we'll see where this goes for Toronto. Obviously, they're going to have probably a little bit better balance with him in the lineup because they do need some right shot D after Justin Hall leaving. And I think letting Justin Hall walk was the right move, but they do need another right shot defenseman to kind of take his spot. I just thought they would go for something maybe a little, maybe less expensive or a different type of defenseman. But we'll see how Klingberg works out with the Leafs. So we also had a signing of former Leaf that was picked up at the deadline. Erik Gustafsson signed a one-year deal to New York Rangers for $825,000. The Los Angeles Kings have signed another goaltender, David Rittich. He gets a one-year deal at $875,000. So of course he'll have competition in Phoenix Copley for the backup goaltending position in LA. The Sharks have signed Fabian Zetterlund. Of course, he was part of the Timo Meier training camp from New Jersey. He gets a 2-year deal at $1.45 million. And Alex Kerfoot, another former Leaf, on his way to Arizona. He gets a 2-year deal at $3.5 million. That's a lot of Maple Leafs that have left Toronto today. Obviously, we've seen an exodus with Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Schenn, Nolan Cherry. Now, of course, Gustafsson, which wasn't a shocker, and Kerfoot as well. So it's been quite a day watching the Maple Leafs roster turn over for sure. So we could have more signings. There's also speculation that Christian Fischer, who was leaving the Arizona Coyotes as a UFA, will be signing in Detroit on a one-year deal. I'm not quite sure on the exact NAV here as of yet. I would speculate it'd be somewhere around $1 million or maybe a little bit over, somewhere between 1 to 1.5 would be my guess, but we'll see once that officially gets confirmed. Now, on the trade rumor front, there was a report earlier today from Arthur Staple of The Athletic, who reports on the New York Rangers, indicating that the Rangers were quietly shopping former first overall pick Alexis Lafreniere. Now, of course, the Rangers have been somewhat busy today making some moves. They don't really have a whole lot in the way of salary cap space remaining, and they do need new contracts in place for Lafreniere and K-Andre Miller. So we'll have to see. Obviously, they've made a lot of additions at the trade deadline, and as of right now, a lot of those additions are not returning. There is speculation that the Rangers are trying to move Barclay Goodrow. There was talk that they contemplated the buyout, but there was going to be a long-term, expense that they didn't really want to have on the books for many years. So obviously Goodrow is still a player that they like, but they don't really like the contract. I think it's fair to say that they definitely overpaid to bring him in from Tampa with Chris Drury first get on the scene there in New York. And that deal is not really working out here so far. So if they can move him, even if they had to retain a little bit of money, that will certainly help their cap situation. It might allow them to keep some more players, but they do have to get their RFA signed in Lafreniere and Miller. And but the problem is with the roster built the way it is there's not really a big opportunity for Lafreniere and Kakko to really move up in the lineup and get a top 6 role where they can flourish in a more offensively driven line. And, that's going to keep their numbers down, which obviously keeps down what they're going to be able to earn on a contract and what they're designed to do. So ultimately, there's some talk that Lafreniere might be better off to get a fresh start somewhere else, though the Rangers are not going to come out and say that they're actively trying to move this guy. I think if they had the right opportunity for a big upgrade for a bigger name player, that they would certainly be willing to include him. No guarantee he goes anywhere. Won't be shocked if he gets a new contract and stays, but there's been talk off and on really for the last 3 or 4 months that Lafreniere could be on the move. And at some point, though, I have to think, unless they can elevate him in the lineup, that it's going to be tough for him to really meet his potential. So we'll have to see where things go on that front. Carolina has been a very busy team today as well, signing Dmitry Orlov. Plus, they still have a trade in the hopper for Tony DeAngelo coming back from the Flyers. They have to wait until July the 9th to fulfill that deal to make it 1 year, more than 1 year since he was acquired by the Flyers before, so that the Flyers can retain salary. So they're getting DeAngelo on a bargain contract for one more season that he has left on his deal. So we know that they got Orlov. DeAngelo's on his way. They obviously still have Brent Burns, Jacob Slavin, Brett Pesce, Brady Shea, Jalen Chatfield, and the reports have indicated that contract extensions for Pesce have not gone well. So there's been some talk that he could possibly be included in a trade. With the additions to the blue line today, I would have to think that a trade involving Pesce is that much more likely. I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes have been busy with their forward group as well, so I do wonder what they would do, for a return. We know the Carolina Hurricanes have, when it matters most, seems that in the playoffs the last few years have been missing that, game breaker type of scoring forward. So obviously this year, having Svechnikov be injured didn't really go well as well. They did sign Michael Bunting today, so that's an extra forward that can score, but he's not, your high-end game breaker. Could he score 20 goals, 45 to 50 points? Yeah, sure, that's what you'd probably expect from him after a couple of years of consistency in Toronto. Now, of course, can he do that in Carolina with some new line mates? We'll have to see. It could be an adjustment period as well. So, either way, they've added to their lineup. They have another offensive player, but they don't have that top-line game breaker, and that might be something that they're, still in the mix for. So we'll have to see. There is word they're still not done in Carolina. It might be making other moves, but I would suggest that any other move they make, or as a way to set up for another move, the guys like either Brett Pesce, or if not Pesce, then Shea. But right now it looks like Pesce might be the odd defenseman out that is more likely to be dealt here in the short term. Now, what else Carolina might be up to? Well, they could be in on Erik Karlsson. There's still talk that they're in on Karlsson and they're not done trying. We know the Sharks have had a lot of conversations today around the Norris Trophy winning defenseman. The Penguins, the Kraken, and the Hurricanes are the three teams that are getting all the attention here, that are having the most conversations and most serious about trying to make a deal work. I think at this point the Kraken might be out, but they were heavily involved in conversations for the better part of the day. The Penguins, though, and the Hurricanes are still two teams that are very much in this. Kyle Dubas and Pittsburgh is trying it, as well as Don Waddell and the Hurricanes. I'm not sure what kind of package would be going to the Sharks from either of those teams, but certainly, like I said before, like the time to get a deal done before Karlsson was running out, I really think the Sharks are going to have to eat a lot of money in that contract, or they're going to have a third party come in, and the acquiring team is going to have to pay them a bit of an incentive to retain an extra 20-25% or something like that of the contract, whether it be Chicago or another team that has ample cap space that essentially that acquiring team can rent from them for a small fee. So we'll see what happens. If that's going to be the only way that either of these teams can get a deal done, is that there's a third party involved, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Erik Karlsson trade talks are very much in play. There's been times today when it sounded like things were getting close, but ultimately, I don't know that we really were there. We'll have to see how long conversations go. But the longer things drag on in free agency, and the more the teams make decisions and get impatient, sign other players, use up their cap space, is it going to create less of an opportunity for a big trade like that to get done? So we'll see if the Karlsson trade can materialize here in the short term. If it doesn't, it's going to reduce the chances of it happening. And in Alex Debrincat's case in Ottawa, there was an update today from Pierre Dorian, who spoke to the media after several hours of the free agent frenzy going on. And he said that he has now changed his mind and given a few teams permission to speak to Debrincat's agent on term. Now, word was from Senator reporters was that they've had a lot of conversations around the player today, And like I said, where they've actually given teams permission now to speak to his agent about a contract. And even though they've had some good, healthy trade talks and thought they were close on a few occasions, the agent who spoke to the other team about the new contract extension was not getting anywhere close. Apparently, the other teams that were interested in acquiring him, at this point, it sounds like they're not really interested in giving him an 8-year deal. So it sounds like at the end of the day, as much as he's made this about the opportunity to hit free agency, the opportunity to really cash in, see the market, and kind of get the best deal for himself and his family long term. And it sounds like right now Ottawa is the team that is willing to give him the most term and the most money. So I don't know if there'll be a change of heart or what happens here, but so far the grass isn't greener on the other side, and teams are not willing to pay him what they were hoping he would see on free agency. So could he still sign a 1-year deal, stay in Ottawa for at least one more year? It's certainly possible. We'll have to monitor the situation and see, but the fact that Dorian's allowing other teams to have conversations with his agent, and certainly will increase the odds that something's going to get done sooner than later, as long as they like what they hear and that, the other team is willing to offer to bring it what he wants. Ultimately, if they don't get that, they may end up just staying after all. So we'll have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts on all of today's news and rumors down in the comments. We'll talk about it further. There could be more signings and other things happen today, so stay tuned. There might be other content still coming to the channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. There'll be plenty more content, if not tonight, then tomorrow and the days coming ahead as we get through the rest of the NHL free agent period and lots of other news to talk about in the coming days. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.